there are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on Earth. More planets than we could ever count. And yet, despite the endless possibilities, we've never seen a single undeniable sign of intelligent life. Why? Well, before we dive into this, I'm curious. What country are you listening from? Please take a moment to let us know in the comments. And if these videos help you fall asleep, subscribe so they're always easy to find. Now, get comfortable, close your eyes, and let's begin. At first, it might seem like a simple question. Maybe we just haven't been looking long enough. Maybe we don't have the right tools. But the deeper we dive, the stranger the question becomes. Because, by all logic, by every mathematical prediction, our galaxy alone should be filled with intelligent life. Somewhere out there, beneath the glow of distant suns, life should be thriving. And if just one civilization had figured out interstellar travel millions of years ago, they could have spread across the stars by now. Maybe not here on Earth, but somewhere nearby, their presence should be obvious. But it isn't. There's a theory, one that has puzzled scientists for decades. It might hold the answer to why, in a universe so vast, we have yet to find anyone else. But before we explore that, we have to ask an even bigger question. How likely is it that life exists beyond Earth? Well, if life happened once, here on Earth, then it should have happened countless times across the universe. After all, the ingredients for life, carbon, water, energy, are everywhere. We've already discovered thousands of exoplanets orbiting distant stars. Many of them sit in the habitable zone, where conditions might be just right for life to thrive. Some are even eerily similar to Earth. So, if the universe is filled with these potential homes, then where is everyone? One way to estimate the number of alien civilizations is with something called the Drake equation. It's not an exact formula, but rather a thought experiment, one that forces us to consider all the steps required for intelligent life to arise. It asks questions like, how many stars have planets? We now know the answer is most of them. How many of those planets could support life? How often does life actually start? And of those, how many evolve intelligence? Each step filters out a fraction of potential civilizations. If even one factor is rarer than we think, then the final number drops significantly. But even if life is uncommon, it shouldn't be this quiet. Even if just 1 in a million planets produced a spacefaring civilization, there should be hundreds, if not thousands, out there, making themselves known. And yet, we see nothing. So what's stopping them? Maybe life itself isn't the problem. Maybe something prevents civilizations from surviving long enough to explore the stars. That brings us to our first possibility. The Great Filter. If intelligent life should be common, but we don't see any signs of it, then something must be stopping civilizations from reaching the stars. This idea is known as the Great Filter, a hidden barrier that most, if not all civilizations, fail to pass. The filter could be behind us, meaning life is so rare that intelligent beings almost never emerge. Or it could be ahead of us, meaning most civilizations reach a certain point. And then, for some reason, they don't make it any further. One possibility is that life is far more fragile than we assume. Even though we now know planets are common, the the process of life emerging might be incredibly rare. Maybe Earth was an extraordinary accident, an almost impossible chain of events that led to complex life. After all, life began on Earth nearly 4 billion years ago, but for most of that time it remained microscopic. It took billions of years just to produce simple multicellular creatures. Intelligence, that only happened once, us. If this is true, then maybe the universe isn't empty because civilizations fail. Maybe it's empty because they never appear in the first place. But what if life isn't rare? What if the real problem isn't starting life, but keeping it alive? If life is common, and intelligence naturally emerges, then there must be another barrier, one that civilizations can't seem to pass. Maybe every intelligent species reaches a point where they develop technology too powerful for their own survival. Think about it. Nuclear war, artificial intelligence that spirals out of control, climate collapse, resource depletion, or biological weapons. Maybe every advanced civilization reaches a stage where their own progress becomes their downfall. If that's true, then what does it mean for us? Are we approaching this invisible threshold right now? Or maybe the filter isn't a civilization's own doing. Maybe something else is preventing them from thriving. What if the universe isn't empty because life is rare, but because advanced civilizations have learned that it's better to stay silent? This leads us to our next possibility. The dark forest hypothesis. What if the universe isn't empty at all? What if it's full of life, thriving, intelligent civilizations, yet every single one of them is choosing to stay silent? This idea is known as the dark forest hypothesis, and it suggests that the reason we don't see or hear from anyone else is because survival depends on not being found. Why would civilizations stay silent? Imagine you are alone in a vast, dense forest at night. You don't know who or what might be lurking in the darkness. Would you call out? Would you announce your presence, hoping that whatever hears you is friendly? Or would you stay quiet, just in case? The universe might work the same way. Every civilization that reaches a certain level of advancement might realize that broadcasting its existence is a risk too great to take. In a universe filled with intelligent life, civilizations would exist at vastly different stages of development. Some may be young and peaceful, but others could be ancient and powerful. So advanced that we would seem no more significant to them than insects are to us. And in a game where survival is the only rule, it may be safer to assume that any unknown intelligence is a potential threat. After all, when humans encountered less advanced civilizations in our own history, the results were often one-sided. If this idea is true, then maybe the first lesson of intelligent life is to stay hidden at all costs. What does this mean for us? Right now, Earth has already sent messages into space. We've broadcast our existence through radio waves, deep space probes, and powerful telescopes scanning the cosmos. If the universe is a dark forest, then we've already lit a fire. And if something, or someone, is watching, we may not have to wonder about the Fermi paradox for much longer. But what if civilizations aren't hiding? What if they're simply gone? This brings us to our next possibility: the silent graveyard. What if the universe isn't empty? What if intelligent civilizations are everywhere, watching, waiting, but none of them dare to speak? This idea is known as the dark forest hypothesis, and it suggests that the reason we haven't seen any evidence of alien life is because survival depends on staying silent. Imagine you are alone in a vast, dark forest. You don't know what lurks in the shadows, only that something might be there. Other travelers, perhaps, hidden between the trees. Do you call out? Do you announce your presence, hoping for kindness? Or do you stay quiet, listening carefully, because you don't know who or what might be listening back? The universe may work the same way. Civilizations that become advanced enough to consider exploring the stars may also realize that drawing attention to themselves could be the greatest risk of all. Think about Earth's history. When civilizations with vastly different levels of technology encountered one another, the results were often one-sided. A young, emerging society would not stand a chance against an advanced power. If the same rules apply on a cosmic scale, then perhaps the first rule of survival is simple. Never reveal yourself first. Maybe the silence of space is not a sign of absence, but of caution. Maybe there are countless civilizations out there, hidden behind their own walls, never sending signals, never reaching out. Because they've learned that to be heard is to be seen, and to be seen is to be at risk. And if that's true, what does it mean for us? Because Earth has already spoken. Our radio waves have traveled deep into space, carrying messages of our existence. We've sent probes beyond our solar system with maps pointing back home. We've built powerful telescopes, listening, searching, waiting for a reply. If the universe is a dark forest, then we've already lit a fire. We just don't know who or what might be watching. Maybe we are alone. Maybe we are not. Or maybe the universe is filled with life, but each civilization remains isolated, scattered across the stars, unable or unwilling to reach out. It's a mystery we may never solve. But as you close your eyes and drift into sleep, imagine a universe teeming with unseen worlds. Silent cities beneath distant suns. Ancient beings looking up at their own skies, wondering the same thing we do. Perhaps, somewhere out there, another mind is staring into the vastness of space, asking the same question. Where is everyone? And perhaps, just like us, they are still waiting for an answer.